I've just written some statistics down here. From December the 21st to December the 27th, this year alone, there were 21 terrorist attacks in 10 countries, killing 115 people and wounding 58 others, and that included one suicide blast. That is literally from the 21st of December till the 27th of December. We know
that's happening. We know.
Two vehicles were both rented, both from the same company, but at this stage, the update was that seemed to be just a mere coincidence. Tesla founder Elon Musk, as we know, very close to incoming President Donald Trump, he posted on social media, his platform X today, saying that it appears likely to be an act of. He says both this Cybertruck and the F-150 bomb in New Orleans were rented from Turo. That's that rental car company I mentioned, and he speculates perhaps that they are linked in some way. Mr. Musk has also written that the evil knuckleheads picked the wrong vehicle for an attack. Cybertruck actually contained the explosion and directed the blast upwards. Not even the glass doors of the lobby were broken. And that's the very point that Las Vegas authorities had been making. The fact that this was a Cybertruck prevented the explosives actually doing further damage into the interior of the hotel. Vegas authorities confirming that both Mr. Musk and Donald Trump have aided the investigation so far.
I have to thank Elon Musk specifically. He gave us quite a bit of additional information in regards to how the vehicle was locked after it exploded due to the force of the nature of the force from the explosion, as well as being able to capture all of the video from the Tesla charging stations across the country, and he sent that directly to us, so I appreciate his help.
Attention is also now turning to security at other major events that are coming up in the United States. We are just 2 weeks or so away from Donald Trump's inauguration in Washington, D.C. New Orleans will be playing host to the Super Bowl in early February.
Steve, to you first, are you worried? You listened to the FBI director, Chris Wray. He's been saying this. He's been sounding the alarm. The border was wide open. He was sounding the alarm. Do you worry about our ability now that we are out of Afghanistan, that we don't have the presence we had in the Middle East? Do you worry about our ability to pick up chatter about activity?
I worry about this every day, Trace. Look, the FBI has literally failed us in every way, shape, and form. And I think today the FBI agent coming out and suggesting this was not a attack. Are you kidding me? I mean, for goodness sakes, but I'm worrying about the fact that there's been a reduction of human sources on the ground, electronic surveillance. They need to really get their act together and start doing what they did years ago, and that's protect the American people first and foremost.
To help us try and put the piece of the puzzle together. I mean, we've seen such a rise in attacks in fundamentalist Islamic groups now that have been targeting a lot of, the Western civilization. And I don't know that it's unavoidable. I think we've reached a situation as difficult as it is to acknowledge where the damage has already been done. Right, and so
what is the damage? What's the damage that's been done so far?
Well, we're seeing the result of it now. All of these attacks, 45,000 plus attacks across Europe in the last decade have all been attributed to the Islamist fundamentalist movement, right? This extreme radicalist movement that has been designed to wage war on the Western world. And it's terrifying, right? And I think we all rightly feel terrified. My cousin actually was staying at the Trump Tower in Las Vegas. So I managed to get him on air today to have a chat to him. The sheer terror in his voice, because he said, we didn't know what it was. We were barricading the door. We didn't know if it was a shooter on the loose because of these attacks that have occurred in America so frequently now. We've almost very sadly become immune to it, right? But when they started to put the pieces of the puzzle together, all via social media and news reports that they were glued to within their room, they started to realise again, that this is something that's very concerning at the forefront of people's minds. We need to know now, Kel, that in this scenario, how are we dealing with this, right? The best response, of course, is to show our support to everyone that's been aggrieved by it, but then you've got to strip it back, right? What's to blame? Is it immigration that we're staring down the barrel of that's a cause of this issue? But we can't wind the clock back now, and we have to think about how are we handling this when we identify through our intelligence agencies people that are and making these observations that are, prioritising their allegiance to their movement and their country.
Given there are risks in the community, do the risks have to hit us, Evelyn, or is it possible? I mean, we've been saying for years, it's a tired old cliche that prevention is better than cure. Can we? The risk is there. Can we prevent the risk turning into an attack?
I certainly think we can do a lot better than what we have been doing thus far. But like Lucy said, the bulk of the damage has been done. And so now we have to, as a nation and as collective nations, because let's be honest, this is mostly happening in the Western world. You only have to look at statistics but that's where it's happening, the bulk of it's happening. So we have to, I guess, figure out how to move forward from here.
I'm not as concerned for the actual inauguration. That's a national security event. Everything that we have possibly that can be rolled out, and those people think outside the box, will be there. What I'm concerned about are the events like we saw last night. So during the inauguration, they have all these inauguration balls. Those are going to be targets. We have different bowl games coming up, the Super Bowl coming up. The Super Bowl is not just one game. It's a week of all these different things going on, and to an extent where an entire city is consumed by events around the Super Bowl. That's a soft target. That's a concern. Because as we see, it's as easy as driving a vehicle up, whether you have a bomb or not. It's as easy as finding a group of people and driving a vehicle into them. I think this, somewhere along the way, I think people have figured that want to cause or death and destruction. They figured out along the way that a vehicle attack is the easiest thing to do, and it's fast. And unfortunately, law enforcement is going to have to stay ahead of this.
Jonathan, I think you've touched on something that we're concerned about, and that is copycats in the weeks and months ahead.
Right. And I think, so the thing about these vehicle attacks, in this case, it's very difficult at the Trump Tower. That's very difficult because that's a hotel and you have to be able to approach the hotel. In the case of New Orleans, there's no reason why that individual should have been able to get on that street that is considered a special event every night of the week. So I think law enforcement and city officials need to start looking at perimeter security, just like the Secret Service has had issues with twice that we know of. If you leave these avenues of approach open for bad guys, they will take full advantage of them eventually.